A man is arrested after reportedly trying to bring explosives on a flight.
Members of our community speak about the legacy Claude Jacobs left behind in the Crossroads.
And hundreds of flags were placed at Fannin Memorial to honor the hundreds of lives lost during the Texas independence.
We're looking at rain, we're looking at a cool down, we're looking at fog though first. We'll talk all about that and more, but first, here's Gino.
And the end of Cowboys season is in the books, but we take a look at the highlights and we hear from their coach as well in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia. New at 10, a bill banning Chinese citizens from buying Texas land gets a major revision. State Senator Lois Kolkhorst tells the Houston Chronicle she heard the concerns regarding Senate Bill 147 and now plans to update it before Thursday morning when she presents the bill in the Texas legislature. Chinese natives with green cards or those fleeing that communist nation would be allowed to still buy property in Texas. Originally, the bill aimed to ban all Chinese citizens from buying any land in the state. Kolkhorst's bill still prohibits businesses and government officials from China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran from buying land in Texas.
A Pennsylvania man was arrested by federal agents Monday after he tried to bring explosives on a flight. Mark Muffley checked baggage at the Lehigh Valley International Airport for a flight to Orlando. An alarm alerted the baggage contained explosives. TSA agents paged him over the intercom system and asked him to report to the airport security desk, but he never showed up. Soon after, security cameras reportedly caught him leaving the airport. The FBI later arrested the 40-year-old man at his home. Services for Claude Jacobs begin Sunday, March 5th with a visitation from 4 to 6 p.m. at St. Joseph Catholic Church, 401 Orth Street in Yoakum. A rosary follows at 6 p.m.
The funeral will take place Monday, March 6 at 10 a.m. at Our Lady of Victory Catholic Church, 1311 Mesquite Lane in Victoria. A reception will follow the Mass.
Claude Jacobs was a leader in Victoria who touched many lives. He died Monday morning at the age of 80.
Now friends and family share a few words on the legacy Claude Jacobs leaves behind.
Really lost a good man today.
Claude Jacobs, well known, well respected, and well loved in the Crossroads community. Jacobs, a native of Yoakum, was known for his philanthropist work in the area, his dedication towards helping those in need, and most notably, the Blue Bonnet Youth Ranch. The origins of the Blue Bonnet Youth Ranch date back to the 1960s when Jacobs and others provided shelter and care for 5 children whose parents could not. Over the years, Jacobs' humble intentions developed into the now established Blue Bonnet Youth Ranch, which has taken care of over 600 abused, abandoned, or neglected children across the South Texas region.
It's all about neighbor helping neighbor, and that's something that describes Mr. Jacob in his heart. And that's what Blue Bonnet Youth Ranch was.
But his philanthropist efforts did not stop there. Jacobs jump-started the annual Celebrity Golf Tournament, bringing in stars from both the sports and music industry. This tournament alone has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for the Blue Bonnet Youth Ranch.
There's not an inch, a square inch of the 40 acres of Blue Bonnet Youth Ranch that do not have Claude Jacobs' fingerprints on it.
Both Jacobs and his wife, Mary Virginia, recognized and valued the importance of education. So when UHV announced it was starting its athletics program, the couple started an endowment fund for it. And in March of 2022, Jacobs created and donated $25,000 to a UHV scholarship for nursing students, honoring his wife.
It's going to take a lot of people to step up and replace the efforts that one man in Claude Jacobs was doing in this community, because he did a lot, and a lot that maybe people don't even realize.
And those who knew Jacobs described him as giving, passionate, and kind.
Very true. If you'd like to honor the memory of Claude Jacobs, you can send a donation to the Blue Bonnet Youth Ranch, address P.O. Box 90, Yoakum, Texas 77995, or go to byrtx.org to donate at their website.
And this brings us to your viewer poll tonight. Scan that QR code on your screen to participate. Have you supported the Bluebonnet Youth Ranch in the past? Yes or no? 44% say yes and 56% say no. Thank you for voting. Remember, come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to participate in all our daily viewer polls.
Let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team meteorologist Howie Gordon. All right, Howie, we're in March. It's still in the 80s, but there's a chance it could get to the 70s this week.
For highs and maybe a few 40s overnight lows, but that's going to be a short period of time. Won't last too long, but we've been talking about it all week. We've been staying low to mid 80s for highs, but then that boundary comes through Thursday into Friday. That knocks us down. Look at that. Some 40s overnight temperatures. That's new ground for us. We haven't seen that in a while, especially in the month of March, right? But we just moved into March. But yeah, we'll warm up. It's going to be very short-lived, that next cool down. Winds still gusting away in some spots to 25 plus. That will help a little bit with the fog, but those areas where there's not so much wind, that fog looking to move in and take visibilities down to maybe a quarter of a mile or less in some spots. We'll drop down to 69. We're going to get cooler than that, though. Maybe even looking at some showers. We'll talk more about it coming up. Karina, Don?
Howie, thank you. Additional oversight is expected on the transportation of toxic wastewater to Texas from the train derailment in Ohio. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee says inspectors from the EPA will be on site in Deer Park to make sure the toxic wastewater is handled safely. Federal officials will help monitor the process as the waste makes its way to Texas Molecular.
So they will be on site. And remember now, that means they will also have the ability to monitor and to be informed by Norfolk Southern about the transport that's coming through. You know, where do the trains stop? Where do the trucks transport start? Are the trains protected? You know, are we traveling along tracks that don't create another derailment? Are the trucks certified and prepared to carry that transport?
The Congresswoman says other states are also being assessed and designated as potential sites, this to reduce the amount of waste coming into the state.
In Goliad, community members come together to honor the 300+ lives lost at a historical Texas battle site. 25
News Now weekend anchor Adam Seibel has more. Adam?
That's right, Don and Karina. So Linda Breeding is the Goliad County Historical Commission Chair, and she wanted to try something new this year at the Fannin Memorial, placing hundreds of flags to honor the hundreds of lives lost fighting for Texas independence.
We lost more men here than they did at the Alamo.
In Goliad, you'll find the Fannin Memorial Monument, a large structure in a field surrounded by bluebonnets and other Texas wildflowers. While it may seem quaint, there was once tremendous bloodshed on this very land where the flowers grow. That's because this is the site of the Goliad Massacre, where 348 Texan Army members were killed by the Mexican Army. Linda Breeding, who's the Goliad County Historical Commission Chair, decided she wanted to do something to honor the lives lost.
They marched them off, and they, they shot them, went back in and shot Fannin. And so we are just honoring them.
Linda wanted to do something new to honor the 348 men who were killed here, so she was able to get over 220 flags and other materials donated to plant them in front of the Fannin Memorial, the flags depicting a severed arm.
It meant that they would rather sever their right arm than serve under tyranny.
For Linda, history is important to learn about and recognize.
It's wonderful. History is, everybody needs to know history. And if you know it, then you're not going to repeat it. It will, and you can't erase it. It's happened. So let's just go on and make it something that's really positive. And right here in Goliad, we're so blessed with history.
Linda also has a personal connection to this historical site.
My husband has an ancestor's brother that was killed here, and so I guess maybe that's why I'm kind of doing it, is to honor him too.
She also grew up here, spending her days as a child playing on the memorial.
And we would come in the springtime, and we would play up there on the monument, and we would go to the state park, and we had a blast. To myself growing up and coming here to play and visit with my mom and her sister, who are both gone now.
So when you think of Texas history, just know there's a piece of it right here in your own backyard here in Goliad. And sometimes the best way to learn about history is to immerse yourself in it and go to the very space that these significant events took place and where lives were lost.
It means a lot to see those flags and to know that people gave their lives. They weren't from Texas, most of them. They were from all over the United States and Ireland and Scotland. I mean, they were from all over. They came to fight for a cause. They believed.
You know, Don, Karina, I'm from Oklahoma, so all this is new to me. So I got a Texas history lesson today, and I've got to say, Texas sure does have a pretty rich history.
You're right, Adam. It's a Texas-sized history, actually. All right, thank you, Adam. Here's some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. Grace Episcopal Church and the Port Lavaca Lions Club served pancakes and raised money during Shrove Tuesday. The principal for Our Lady of the Gulf Catholic School becomes a science teacher. And the Calhoun County Quilt Guild held their third quilt show after being postponed due to the pandemic. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10. Closing arguments underway today in the double murder trial of former South Carolina lawyer Alex Murdaugh.
Also ahead, China denounces an FBI claim that the Wuhan lab leak caused the COVID-19 pandemic.
Hungry? Ruben invites you to Las Palmas, where fresh is always the best. Go for the breakfast tacos, migas, and all your favorite breakfast foods. We've got lunch covered too, Monday through Friday lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. After a long day, come have dinner with us. Daily dinner specials run from 3 p.m. to closing. And don't forget your Frankorita, only at Las Palmas, where fresh is always the best. Call us for your catering.
The Nave Museum's current exhibit is a retrospective of Nancy Bandy's life and art. Primarily a landscape artist, her works in pastel and oil use glorious color to capture the majesty and splendor of big Texas skyscapes. Also featured are portraits and street photography by local artist Danny Vivian, which capture the emotions and personalities of the people he photographs. Open through April 2nd, this is an exhibit not to be missed. Proudly sponsored by the Victoria Television Group.
When it comes from McAdams, it shows you care. The freshest flowers, the prettiest plants, balloons and gift baskets too. It beautifully unique is what you seek. Making lasting impressions is what we do. Always the very best value for you. When it comes from McAdams, it shows you care.
Your husband, text him over the weekend, this guy, and he says, beast workout, just finished, give me a call.
Next live, Willem Dafoe and Leah Michelle.
Like this guy, 2-hour workout.
There's no way, because I've worked out with him, and halfway through, he's like, all right, that's enough for me.
Plus, on March 13th, Live returns to the Oscar stage for Live's After Oscar show.
Movies are dreams that you'll never forget.
This is larger than any of us.
Closing arguments began today in the murder trial of Alex Murdaugh. The lead prosecutor insisted he was the only one who could have committed the murders. He said the evidence shows Murdaugh was present at the crime scene and the defendant's lies in the aftermath all point to his guilt. The prosecution has argued Murdaugh committed the crimes to distract from other crimes, including stealing millions from his law firm. Murdaugh has denied having anything to do with the killings. China denounced comments made by the FBI director regarding the potential origins of the coronavirus. The FBI assessed a leak from a laboratory in Wuhan likely caused the COVID pandemic. However, China says the claim has no credibility whatsoever. Two sources claim the defendant of energy concluded with low confidence where coronavirus originated, and the likely laboratory-related leak was an accident. The virus was first identified in Wuhan in December 2019 before spreading throughout the world. A recent study shows limiting calories may work better than fasting to help with weight loss.
Eating smaller meals could be more effective for weight loss than intermittent fasting or only eating within a small time window during the day. That's according to a study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association. 547 adult men and women tracked how many calories they ate during the day and when they ate over the course of 6 months. People who ate larger meals that were greater than 500 calories more frequently gained more weight during that time. There was no significant weight change when people ate during smaller time windows. That being said, everyone is different, and diet plans that work for some might not work for others. Be sure to talk to your medical provider if you're considering embarking on a weight loss journey in order to find the safest, healthiest way to lose weight. With this Medical Minute, I'm Faith Abube, ABC News.
The Senate passing a resolution today to overturn the Biden administration retirement investment rule. The rule allows managers of retirement funds to consider the impact of climate change and other environmental, social, and governance factors when picking investments. Republicans complain the rule is woke policy, pushing a liberal agenda on Americans and will hurt retirees' bottom lines. It's widely expected President Biden will use the first veto of his presidency to stop it. Extended food stamp benefits are ending for millions of American families across the country today.
And now American households will have even fewer dollars for groceries.
Starting this month, it's going to get harder for millions of American families on food stamps to afford groceries. On Wednesday, additional benefits allocated for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, ended nationwide.
It's a big impact no matter what age group you're looking at.
Lawmakers voted to end that additional emergency funding last month, 3 years after they approved it during the COVID-19 pandemic.
And with the allotments going away, people will be back to an average of only $6 a person a day for food. That's what the SNAP allotment is.
According to the latest federal data, in November, more than 42 million Americans were getting food stamp assistance. Now recipients will be getting a reduced amount, an average of about $90 a month less in benefits.
My income hasn't changed, so I have to find another way to make up that money that we were getting.
The end comes at a really difficult time. Low-income families are already struggling to stretch their dollars to purchase essential items amid high inflation.
I'm going to have to go to a food bank now. I don't want to have to go to a food bank.
So what can you do? The USDA recommends applying for other food and nutrition services if you qualify, like the Summer Food Service Program. Last year, Congress passed legislation that created a permanent program providing funds to families of about 30 million children to buy groceries in place of school meals during summer break. And there's also WIC, the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for women, infants, and children. For Consumer Watch, I'm Shelley Malashi.
Here's some of the top headlines you can read in the Cuero Record this week. A Nigerian national living in Maryland taken into custody and facing felony charges coming from a DeWitt County cybercrime. The DeWitt County Auditor earns a national honor, and the 74th annual Cuero Livestock Show is underway. You can read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com.
Ready for some rain, some wind, and some cooler weather? Well, we're going to talk about it straight ahead.
It's time to lasso up in Edna, Texas for Hospice of South Texas Lassoing Loving Care Team Roping. Saturday, March 4th at the Brackenridge Event Center. Books open 8 a.m. with roping at 9:30 a.m. There will be number 11.5 and number 9.5 roping. Live auction at 1 p.m. Silent auction and concessions available, and admission is free. For more information, call 210-508-1223 or visit hospiceofsouthtexas.org. Sponsored in part by the Victoria Television Group. The Victoria Television Group is proud to honor our veterans, and we need your entries. Each month, we'll acknowledge a new veteran to salute. To submit, go to the Military Hero page on CrossroadsToday.com and help us recognize the deserving servicemen and women in our community.
This is Ford Truck Month, Texas. Time to get up and get into Ford F-150, part of F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 46 years straight. All amped up and ready for work or play. Plus, there's a great selection in stock and ready for delivery today. So get into Ford Truck Month, Texas, and see what a built Ford Tough truck can do for you. Drive Ford F-150 with 0.9% for 60 months, 0 down, and 0 payments for 90 days, plus complimentary maintenance.
For months, we've been saying that Fred Loya can save you more money on your car insurance. But just how much more? In recent months, people who switched from Geico and Progressive to Fred Loya Insurance have saved over $1,500 a year. State Farm customers who switched to Fred Loya saved over $1,600 a year. Allstate customers saved over $1,100 a year. That's a combined savings of over $240,000 a year. So start paying less. Call or visit fredloya.com. If you don't call, you don't save.
Escape to a world of wonder as choreographer Brenda Talley takes you through the madcapped world of Lewis Carroll in Victoria Ballet Theater's production of Alice in Wonderland, March 4th and 5th. Tickets are now available at victoriaballet.org and at the Leo J. Welder box office.
Kids don't even know what they want for dinner, let alone what gender they are.
Detransitioning. She had to go through the process of detransitioning back from being a male to a female. Is this a growing phenomenon?
I've heard of some people saying that being trans is trendy. It's something that people think is cool.
The number one reason for detransition is because transphobia.
But I am trans. How am I transphobic?
All new, Dr. Phil.
All right, dark, cloudy skies in Cuero could start taking on some fog as well. Now, with that moisture that's moving in, it's bringing some warmth as well. Temperatures soaring into the mid-80s today, more than 10 degrees above average. We warmed to 89 back in 1975. Yesterday, for the 28th, February 28th, our record high was 96 degrees set back in 1940. 96 on a winter day. Wow, that is warm. Okay, so our moisture is continuing to pump in from the Gulf. What does that mean? With not enough winds to really scour it out, look at some areas really getting taken down to a quarter of a mile or less. So areas of dense fog. Some spots not as bad, but some spots really bad. So please slow it down out there on the roadways. No high beam headlights because they can kind of get reflected right back to you. All right, future temperatures. Here is what we have here. So temperatures in the mid-80s today, but now, yeah, we're staying on that path for tomorrow. But after that boundary comes through, we'll see some temperatures dropping down into the 40s. Now, this will be short-lived because we're going to start to warm up pretty quickly into the weekend, Saturday and into Sunday, and really head back into the mid-80s where we've been for a number of days. Future temperatures, okay, let's go to our dew points now. Let's go. Simon says dew points. One more slide. There we go. So these got knocked down the other day with that boundary into the 30s and 40s. But then the moisture turned around as a warm front, came back in there, and look at that. Look at that. Uncomfortable. Yeah, when we get to be 60-ish. Now here we are pushing 75-ish in some spots. But these will get knocked down tomorrow when that boundary comes down, wringing out the atmosphere of its existing moisture. Not all of it, but a good plenty of it. All right, here's our winds. I talked about some spots a little gusty because of that. Can control some areas of the fog. We're not seeing the winds all over the place. The moisture continues to move in. Again, we're not seeing those showers because we have some opposing forces pushing down on the atmosphere that negates the rain. So we've been staying dry. But as this boundary heads our way, all this moisture will continue to run into the boundary. And then at the same time, along the front and in front of the front, yeah, we could see some showers, maybe even some thunderstorms. A lot of that activity, better weather dynamics is supporting further north and to the northeast, but there's always a chance. We'll keep an eye on what's going on when that boundary clears the way. Here is what we have. That cooler air is going to move in to the crossroads Yeah, for about a day or so, we're going to see some overnight lows in the 40s. Highs only making it up to maybe 70 degrees. But hey, that's still beautiful. That's right around average for this time of year. Here's our future tracker, okay? The showers. That boundary's going to come through later. Yeah, we can see a line of showers. After that, we dry off, we clear off. So then we'll talk small craft advisory. That's what we have for our marine forecast. So seas occasionally at 9 feet. Okay, here's 70s for the evening. Overnight, dropping down to 69 under mostly cloudy skies. Look at that fog overnight and into the morning. And then tomorrow, 84 with gusty winds. But how long does that last? Yeah, we cool down, but cool down still 81, 78. That's absolutely beautiful. That was for Quira. Port Lavaca, temperatures upper 70s, lower 80s pretty much the rest of the week. And then here is what we have. 84 for Thursday. That boundary comes down, knocks us down to 70, 77 degrees with sun. That's actually really nice. And then Monday, 79. Wednesday, up to 85. Oh, I want to thank you, Jess, for sending me for that. I went for those. I forgot what I'll talk about it later. I forgot what it was called there. So my earwax. I got some earwaxing. Here is what we got here. For more weather news and sports, you go to our app. I'm losing my mind today here. CrossroadsToday.com, ready at your fingertips, ready Android and iPhone. And now that's right. Let me just get it over to Gino.
Thanks, Howard. We appreciate it. We hear from the head coaches from the soccer teams from East and West, that is. That's coming up after the break.
With reports of people developing cancer after using talcum powder for an extended period, many are turning to the courts to hold the manufacturers accountable for their reckless disregard for human health and willingness to put profit over people. If you used talcum powder and developed ovarian cancer, it is in your best interest to speak with the team at 1-800-LAW-FIRM about filing a lawsuit. Our team works hard to hold manufacturers accountable for concealing the true dangers of consumer products. Call 1-800-LAW-FIRM to see if you qualify.
This is a meal worth sharing. Right now, get 4 hot and spicy McChicken sandwiches, 20-piece chicken McNuggets, and a basket of fries for $15.99. Only at McDonald's.
The Bluebonnet Youth Ranch 2023 Charity Concert Series continues with the Gary Morris Farewell Tour, March 10th at the Leo J. Welder Center. With a career that spanned decades and multiple #1 hits, including The Wind Beneath My Wings, Gary Morris performs live March 10th, sponsored in part by the Victoria Television Group.
Howdy, Crossroads. The Edna Cowboys took on the Cole Cougars last night, and here are some of the highlights from the final quarter. Edna found itself down by 10 until Jaden Clay pulls up from 3 to make the lead only 7 for Cole. A comeback is a brewing. Momentum looked to be on Edna's side by a steal by Kevin Robinson. He drives, tries to make a play, but it's swatted going for the layup. The Cole center, who is just a freshman, by the way, pulls a nice spin move over Clay for the score. Edna down by 14. Now trying to press, trying to get something going, and the Cougars did what they did all night, got past it, little pass here, driving it to the paint, but the great wall of Robinson comes up with a huge block, giving the Cowboys the ball with less than 3 minutes left on the clock. Trying to get something going. Braylon Harris drives, no good. Robinson again with the big rebound and the putback. Edna still fighting. Edna trying to cause turnovers, putting points on board or getting steals, but Cole was just too good, and this would be the last points of the game. An emphatic slam dunk to close the Cowboys season. Final score 56-38. Here is what Edna head coach Sheldon Moore had to say about his team and the game.
I hope they learn the life lessons and learn how to handle success and learn how to handle failure. How will we hold our heads up and be proud of what we did? Because we had nothing to be embarrassed about. We came out and we fought against one of the best teams in the state. Like you said, we had it close at the end, and they made more shots than us, and that's the game of basketball sometimes.
This has been the most successful season of basketball Coach Moore has been a part of. Great season, Cowboys. In the soccer game last night between Victoria East and West, one team dominated the other. West came into the match undefeated, but East did not care. Rivalries sometimes bring out the best in teams, and that seemed to be the case in last night's matchup between the crosstown rivals. East went up 2-0 in the first half, then added on to it by the end of the game. Here are what both coaches had to say about their teams and in district last night.
I think we focused on the little things, and they made the big things in the game. Worked on possession, worked on not letting the ball hit the ground, working on playing sound defense, playing out the back. Just an overall good team game.
I think it was an off day. I mean, I think it definitely does do something. I mean, obviously the loss hurts, but I'd rather lose now than in the playoffs, right? I think this is a very humbling experience, maybe time to wake up. You know, we're going into a bye week, so it really helps, you know, kind of calm our nerves, get back together, and get back to what we knew was successful soccer.
The two teams split the series at 1. West is still in first place in district, while East gives itself a much-needed win and some momentum to get a better playoff seeding. West will be on bye until next Tuesday against Miller. The East Titans baseball team is on fire and continue to have a perfect record. Last night they took care of business, beating Corpus Christi Moody 10-0. Who knows, Don and Karina, they might be ranked coming in next week. Well, that's your sports. Don and Karina, back to you.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
That's right.
We'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait. Well, stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, the official bourbon bottle of the Kentucky Derby was revealed today.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
USA Foundation Repair, in conjunction with 25 News Now, brings you our Pledge of Allegiance every weekday morning. It's your time to reflect and celebrate our greatness as a country, to be a patriot, and to give thanks for living in the best country in the world. And it all began when you recite our pledge. Brought to you by USA Foundation Repair and 25 News Now.
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With Home Chef, you're not just home cooking, you're home winning. Our fast and fresh meal kits are as fast to make as they are fresh to enjoy. When it comes to making dinner, fill in the blanks with Home Chef. Delicious, meat simple.
Get 16 free meals when you sign up at homechef.com.
Los Angeles County will pay nearly $30 million to the family of late NBA legend Kobe Bryant over photos taken at the scene of the fatal 2020 helicopter crash. The $28.85 million settlement includes the $15 million a federal jury awarded Vanessa Bryant at a trial in August. The NBA superstar, his 13-year-old daughter, and 7 others died in a helicopter crash in 2020. Evidence showed county personnel took pictures of the scene and the victims' bodies and shared them.
The Department of Homeland Security marked its 20th anniversary today, established by President George W. Bush in the wake of the 9/11 terror attacks. DHS spans over 24 agencies, including law enforcement, terrorism prevention, and cybersecurity. President Biden was present at department headquarters today to deliver remarks at a special ceremony.
In the 20 years since DHS began, the world has become more interconnected, more complicated than ever, and new threats are emerging with the incredible advances in technology. Some are frightening, those advances. Many are reassuring. But yet, because of you, America is safer, it's stronger, and is better prepared to meet whatever threat we face.
President Biden thanked DHS employees for their service to the nation over the past 20 years.
Big question tonight and overnight, Howie, when is the fog coming in?
That's a good question.
On the coast right now, you're already having some problems down there. Look at that, down to 1 mile. But here we go. By 2, 3 in the morning, we start to see it moving inland, 2 miles down to 4 miles. So yeah, visibility getting chopped in half as this fog moves inland. Some areas not as bad, other areas getting down to 2 miles or even a quarter mile or less in some spots. We'll be in the 70s this evening. Overnight down to 69 degrees, and then for tomorrow up to 84. We'll be a little bit on the gusty side. And then looking ahead to the rest of the week, here is what we have. By Friday, 70 degrees. Hey, I'll take 70 degrees. Looking ahead later in the week, we do warm back up into the mid-80s. Don, Karina.
Thank you, Howie. Finally tonight, the official bourbon bottle of the Kentucky Derby was unveiled today, and it honors a legend. Woodford Reserve will celebrate the 50th anniversary of Secretariat's win at the 1973 Derby. The 2023 bottle features artwork from a Kentucky native and shows Secretariat in the winner's circle and the garland of roses. The Triple Crown winning horse still holds the record for fastest race in the sport's crown jewel, probably the greatest racehorse ever.
Really?
How about? Yeah, I think so.
Oh, all right. I'll take your word for it.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10. Remember, we're on 24/7 at Crossroads Today Plus.
Join Carolina Strain and meteorologist Trey Mining. 25 News Now Sunrise, 5 a.m. Good night.